Yes, the nexus between poverty, bad governance, and insecurity, among other issues, will form the conversation tonight. And joining us in the studio to share his perspective on the issues is Professor Usman Yusuf. He is a former Executive Secretary of the National Health Insurance Scheme, NHIS. He has also played significant roles in different fields, including security, governance, policy, among others. Welcome to the program, Prof.
Thank you.
We're happy once again having you in our studio.
Thank you, Hamza, for having me.
And we'll take a short break, and when we return, the conversation commences. Don't go away. Prof, you have seen our tidbits, and recently you authored an article titled War on Banditry, Lessons Learned and Way Forward. We'll get to that. But from our tidbits, you have seen, the first one was on the 8,000 Naira palliative, of course, which they said they will share, and they made a U-turn just yesterday. Is it that it was not a well thought out issue that the government backtracked within 1 month after taking such a huge decision?
Hamza, I don't know this 8,000. It's like putting a plaster on a wound that requires surgery.
Okay, so, plaster on a wound that requires
major surgery. Oh. Our people are suffering. Those that earn 30,000, look at that taxi driver.
An old man, he should be in his 60s, right. I think.
That taxi driver, in a month, he's paying about 16,000 for transportation to work. This is how many people are employed. So band-aid solutions will not work. They should go back to drawing board and do the right thing. Consult people, period.
And the fear is people look for power for years, for decades, and once they get it, you now begin to see a disconnect between the ambition and actually delivery of goods and services. There was high expectation on President Tinubu, and nobody thought that, because former President Buhari also thought of sharing this money, and then the government that took over now saying they are going to execute what was actually widely condemned during the last administration.
Right. I mean, I don't want us to waste time on this, to be honest. I mean, let them sort this 8,000, this voodoo economics. Who are you going to give it?
It's a booby economics.
Voodoo economics. I mean, who are you going to give 8,000 to? And what will 8,000 do in this setting where the price of everything is going up? And what is it going to impact? I need an economist from the side of the government to come and tell us. 8,000 will be shared in Kano, Katsina, Kaduna to this number of people. This is what we expected to do. We don't hear that. And so the U-turn, they will go around about only U-turn.
Politicians are really scared to talk, but you don't seem to be a politician. It's like you speak your mind.
No, okay, go ahead.
Yes, if you have your way now and they are listening to you, what will you tell them to do?
Who?
The government, because they are like in a fix now. You can see just yesterday the price of petrol jumped to over 600 per liter, and you have heard what the people we interviewed said. Almost, people are at a point of hopelessness. Someone says that he works for government, his salary is 30, or is an agency or whatever, and he spends over 16,000 on transport alone, meaning he's left with maybe 15,000 or 14,000 to take care of his family. That man has a family. So if you have your way, will you advise the government to revise the whole of this thing and go back to the drawing board?
Right, look, I'm not in this government, and I'm not their advisor. They wanted this power. People gave them this power. They should have come with their plans. They need to talk to people. They need to sort themselves out. Governance is not easy. Nobody rushes or buys to be in government if he knows what it entails. It is a huge responsibility between God and man that you're taking to. And we've had bad experience over the last 8 years that they should have learned. So don't throw things without talking to people and bring me to the studio and ask me to advise them. I'm not their advisor. I'm not an economist.
But you are a Nigerian, Prof.
I am Nigerian.
And it's like you share the pain of millions of
absolutely,
Nigerians.
very concerned Nigerians. So we are sitting and watching them. Politics is not easy.
We normally bring people like you, believing that, yeah, you will call them out.
God help us. Let's just continue praying.
Well, okay, the final tidbit was the nexus between poverty, bad governance, and security. I saw some former powerful military officials there. They also agree that there is a nexus between bad governance and insecurity and poverty. Some of these people, they've been in power for decades. Now they are out of power. What is why are we having it this way? And what they said, you know, Jamen, right?
All right. And this is not new. We've always known from the beginning of Adam that poverty and injustice is directly related to insecurity. No society, there can never be peace in any society where there is this much injustice and poverty. That is why even in the very rich countries, in Saudi Arabia and the United States, they subsidize food.
Food?
Absolutely.
Yeah, I heard that food is very cheap.
Cheap, yeah. You go
affordable.
Absolutely. You go to the supermarket, there is no tax on food, but there is tax on everything else. Why? Because food security is very important. So the very poor man who is living under the bridge can go to McDonald's and buy something for $1 and fill his tummy.
Wow.
So these leaders, they didn't know there is a connection between poverty. This is not new. Since the beginning of man, there's poverty, there is injustice, can never be peace. Instead of waging war on whoever they're waging war on, wage war on poverty.
On poverty?
Absolutely.
Government should wage war, not on individuals, not on people
absolutely. You wage
picking arms against the state.
You wage war on poverty, you will stop all of these problems. I'm serious. You buy $1 billion Tucano, give me 1/10 of what you buy in Tucano and invest on people. Governors get foreign loans to build overhead bridges. When you have underneath the bridges homeless, hungry, and out of school children. During our time,
yes,
I am 62
now.
Absolutely. We have seen the best of Nigeria, and this is what we are seeing today. Leaders of that time invested in us. They invested in us. That's why we.
You enjoyed scholarship for school?
Everything. It's not only scholarship. For them to invest in hospitals, in schools, in other infrastructure. You have security at that time. You could drive from one end of Nigeria to the other.